Hi, welcome back to the Unraveling Soprano. I'm Heather, and this is my channel where I talk about all of my makes from the week, focusing mostly on knitting, but sometimes there's some sewing and crochet. Today we're just going to have another traditional podcast for you today where I update you on what I knitted. So first of all, what am I wearing? So I am wearing sorry, I had it pulled up here and then I'm wearing the Namdalen jumper from Drops Studios, and it is in West Yorkshire Spinners Color Lab in electric blue, and I really like this. I made this a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I really love this textured, it's not cabled, it's like more just like you pulled the yarn through. I'll get a little closer so you can see it. So I think it's more of a yoke design. I think it fits really well. Um, the only problem I have with this really open neckline. I think like it looks great. I really love how this looks. It just means I can't really wear like tank tops that come up on my shoulder. I can't really wear those underneath it, so it has to be something like a tube top or like something that has like pretty far back straps. It does not have any short rows in it. There's no shaping to it, which is actually what made it a really good beginner friendly pattern. This is before I learned how to do short rows. And short rows, if you've never done short rows, they're not hard. It just takes a minute to like wrap your head around what you're doing. And once you figure out the like why, for me, anyways, this is like how I kind of compartmentalize trickier techniques. As long as you figure out the why, like why are you doing it, and it's just to raise up the back of the sweater so it lays nicer, and then also that you're just kind of going back and forth to create a wedge. And the only tricky part of short rows is that when you're like turning, you don't want to create holes in your sweater. So there's a couple different ways of doing that, and most patterns are really great at explaining that. Um, but there's no short rows in this. So another problem I have is sometimes I have no idea which way to wear the sweater. I think this is the right way. Not positive, but I love the color. I think that I tend to prefer brighter, punchier colors than muted colors, so I think it looks really nice on me, and I'm excited to wear it. The yarn is a non-superwash wool. It's not super. It's not, I don't think that it's actually itchy on me, but it's not going to be like how soft a superwash yarn would be. It definitely feels like wool. And if that's something that is going to bug you, then maybe this wouldn't be the best yarn. But if you like wools that feel a little woolly, then this is great. I don't feel like I have to wear anything underneath this when I have the wool next to my skin. It's fine. I feel comfortable. I wouldn't necessarily wear this on a hot day. I think on a hot day it would be incredibly itchy, but on a cooler day, I don't really need to wear um, anything underneath it to make me feel comfortable. So, that is what I'm wearing. So now on to works in progress. I feel like I was very productive this week. So we're going to start with, I don't have a finished object. I have half of a finished object. I have a sock. So I still need to weave my ends in. And I'm sorry if you hear my dog in the background. Someone's downstairs taking care of him right now, but he's not pleased by not getting all the belly rubs at all times. So this is a DRK everyday sock. I finished it. I really like the length of it. I'll hold it up. I think it turned out pretty well. And then I have started the second sock. So I'm going to show this. These socks knit up in a very interesting way. So hopefully, yeah, this is what it looks like so far. Sorry. I'm a 12-year-old. But yeah, I just think this looks, it looks very interesting at this state. But I think I have maybe 2 or 3 inches left of the length of the sock, and then I'll go into the gusset. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the progress I have gotten. Hopefully this will get done in the next week or so. We shall see. But I'm just excited that I finished at least one sock, right? Take your wins. Um, the next thing I want to talk about is the deep wood sweater, which got significantly less work done on it this week. Oh, this is a mess. And you can tell that it's gotten significantly less work on it because of the state of the bag that it's in. Okay, so I did start the sleeve. So I cast on my under the sleeve stitches. There's really no great way to hold this up. But I cast on under the sleeve. I can't remember how many stitches I cast on. It might be 6. And I think I didn't do a progress keeper, but I know that I've gotten through 2 repeats of the cable. So I think that's, oh, there's no way that I'm going to, so 2 repeats of the cable, I think is about that much in the sleeve. I just did not have the mental power to work on sleeves, mostly just because I don't have a circular needle that is the correct size, but I do have DPNs, and so I've been working on the sleeve on DPNs, and DPNs, it's a slower process. But I just didn't think it was worth purchasing a different circular needle at a smaller cable length for one project that is supposed to be like a free use what you have project. I just didn't see that being entirely necessary. So I'm working on my DPNs, which means that this project is going to be a little slower than I would like. Hopefully this week I will have more time to dedicate to this, but I was happy that the fact that I actually did remember, okay, I need to cast on the sleeve, so at least when I am able to pick up this, it's ready to go. Again, the cable pattern is very simple. I have to decrease, I think it's a total of maybe 10 stitches altogether, maybe 12. I think I have to do it like 6 times under the arm. And I think that that's going to be great. It's going to be a really, really great sweater. I'm still really happy with how it's working up. But yeah, that is my deep woods, if I haven't already said it, deep wood sweater from Drops Studio and or Garn Studio. I can't remember what they call it, but it's Drops Yarn. It's their free patterns. So that's that one. Get back in the bag, and then the big win for this week was actually my shouldering autumn blanket, also by Drops. I have a lot of Drops patterns this week. I mean, I will have a lot of both. Like I have the 2 that I'm working on Drops pattern, but I think also like wearing a Drops pattern. So I got a ton of work on this completed. So I finished the ball of yarn I was working on. I had an extra ball of yarn for my socks, like the remainder of finishing that sock. I knit that into this, and then I am on my last ball of yarn. Barely. I just kind of started it, but I got to what I wanted to do. What I wanted to accomplish. I have still not gotten to the point where I am decreasing, which it crazy to me. So this is how much work I have gotten done. So that is about 2, 3, 5 to well, if it's not stretched out, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 inches Stretched out it's more like 6. But I am at 134 centimeters, so I have about 6 centimeters left to go until I hit 140. And hopefully I will get that done this week. That would be great. And then I was looking at the pattern. I need to weave in my ends. These are kind of, I love that. I feel like weaving in my ends on this project is a little more tedious than weaving in my ends on a sweater because I have to be like it's a blanket, so both sides show, and I have to be more aware. I don't love that, like, I don't know if you can see this. You probably can't see this. There's just like yarn is so dark. Okay, look at the yarn, not me. But like there's just random strings. Some of that is woven in, some of it isn't. I think I might just cut those off. But I want both sides of the blanket to look nice. So just kind of plugging along on that. I did read in the instructions that once I get to the point where I am no longer decreasing on one side and increasing on the other side, I have to do 2 rows that are just kind of like no increases, no decreases. And then I will go into decreasing on both sides. And then I think it'll be super quick because it's not every other, because right now it's every other row. I am increasing, decreasing, and then I do a normal row. But then when I'm decreasing on both rows, it's gonna go so much faster because I will be losing stitches on both sides. So I think that we're getting to a good place with my shouldering autumn blanket. It's not gonna be done by November. That's not happening. But it's much farther along than it has been in a while. So I was really pleased with progress. As for what I am planning on doing next week, I am going to give myself compassionate deadlines this week because it is a crazy week. I am helping my parents declutter my childhood home because I'm lucky to have everybody here. I'm might as well do some of this work now rather than later. So we're just doing a deep clean of my childhood home. And I don't know how much knitting time I'm going to have. So I am going to hopefully get to the past. I would like to get past the heel of my second sock, which I think is doable. So do the little bit more of the foot, the gusset, the heel, and then stop for the week and leave the ankle for maybe the following week. Or if I get really motivated, maybe I can finish the sock. But I don't want to like put myself in a like hard deadline and then not meet it. With my shouldering autumn sweater, shouldering autumn blanket, I would like to, honestly, I'd like to get 140 centimeters. I think I can do 6 centimeters in length by the end of the week because I think that's doable. Um, we'll see. But yeah, that would be fantastic. If I got to 140 centimeters on that blanket, I would feel like it would be a huge win. I do think the deep wood sweater might need to hang out for a week while I get those other 2 projects done. I don't know how practical it is to get all 3 um, projects worked on. And then if I get all of that stuff done and I have the energy, I might cast on a hat. The hat in question, I wonder if I have it pulled up. One moment. I always have my Ravelry just like ready for me to stare at whenever I do these podcasts. Um, so the hat in question, I think it's in my queue, is the Cardinal Song hat. I talked about it in my fall knitting plans. Um, I would love to cast that on. That would be great. Not finish it, just maybe just reward myself with a different yarn because working in these dark navies, I love a blue. I mean, I'm sure if you've watched any like most of my um, videos so far, you've probably noticed that I do lean towards the blues. I have a couple like creams, and I actually I'm kind of I feel like I'm like in my cream season where I might be buying more cream yarn in the future. And I have some pinks, but I really love a blue. So yeah, but like I've been working in these navies for a while, and my brain just kind of craves some color, so or just different. So I think maybe have casting on that cream hat will just give me some serotonin. And also, I've been super inspired lately with the leaves, like I think they're maple trees. If I can find a picture of like what color I'm thinking of, I will put it. Which side? Which side do I normally do? This side? Yeah. Yeah. So I'll put a picture of the tree, that color I'm thinking. I have been looking and I have no idea. This might be like a winter project that I'm thinking of, but I've been super inspired by these oranges and reds of the leaves falling. And I just love the idea of finding that perfect, bright, like crisp orange. But I want to find an orange. I've been looking at a lot of yarn websites. I want to find an orange that is like both bright but not neon. So like bright but warm. I don't know if that exists in yarn. But every single time I go for my walks and I see these maple trees, um, I'm just so inspired by the color, and I'm like, oh, I really want to knit with that. So maybe that will be my reward for helping my parents deep clean their house. Um, buy myself some orange yarn, and then make myself a fun sweater out of it. I also don't know exactly what kind of sweater would want to make with something because I don't wear a lot of orange. Actually, I was talking to my mom about just colors in general, and she reminded me that actually when I was a child, I my favorite color was orange, and I had completely forgotten this. I think it's because I was deeply, deeply in love with Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was a child. And I that he had the orange eye mask, and so orange is my favorite color. And I think that yeah, I just kind of want to pay tribute to little me with an orange sweater, but I don't know what kind of sweater I want to make. I don't think orange. I'm not called to do a cable knit, so something more stockinette. Um, and I don't know if it would be a cardigan or a pullover. I'm hoping that I'll find because usually what I do is I find the my process normally is find the pattern and then find the yarn. But I'm kind of like reversing that. I'm finding the yarn, and then maybe once I have the physical yarn in my hand, I will find the pattern. So, let me know if you have any yarn suggestions. I'm not looking to like break the bank. So maybe I'm looking for stuff that is like $12, 12 US dollars and under per skein. Because I don't want to spend more than because the yarn can get expensive. You can end up spending like $200 per sweater. Um, but if you know of like if you've knit with or worked with an orange yarn, or like a yarn that you know comes in an orange color that you love, put it down in the comments below and I'll take a look at it. Because I'm open to suggestions. Right now, I think that there's a Knit Picks alpaca. I think it's an alpaca. If I remember the yarn that I'm looking for, but the color I think is fox. So I think that might work. I'm not quite sure if it's exactly the color. I'll have to go into Ravelry and see if anybody has any different pictures of the yarn, because I find sometimes that it's really hard to do online yarn shopping with the pictures they give. Oftentimes they do a pretty good job of getting the right lighting, but I feel like sometimes, especially with reds and oranges, it can things can look pretty different. Like, I think the difference between like a dusty, rusty orange and a slightly bright orange sometimes can be hard to see on a computer. Um, so I'm always like looking at Ravelry pictures to see what they are in different lighting because that can help inform my purchases. Um, and also, like, if you have any pattern ideas of something that would look particularly good in an orange yarn, um, I would love to hear it. I'd also love to hear what you're working on. What patterns and pattern designers do you like? Because I kind of get into a pattern designer rut, and I'm always looking for something new to do. But yeah, uh, thanks so much for walking. Thanks so much for watching. I almost got through this entire podcast without saying something completely different than I was intending. Just at the end, just messed up the end. But thank you so much for watching, and until I see you next time, I hope you have a great week and happy knitting. All right, bye.